Thank you for having us today. I would like to introduce first us as presenters, and otherwise, and at the next step, we go ahead with our presentation. For me, it's a little difficult to present today because I hear everything half a second again, what I say. Maybe you can fix that during the presentation as well. So, Illie, would you like to start with your presentation?
I can.
Or introduction to your person.
Yeah, of course. So I would like to start. Hello, my name is Böhmer Isso. I'm a research assistant here on the University of Ludwigsburg, University of Education in Ludwigsburg, and yeah, I was working with Professor Anselm Böhmer in at least 2 projects now. One of them was DIVA project, and the other one was the Eugene project. And I'm also a PhD student in history here in the University of Education in Ludwigsburg. So, yeah, that's the information to my person. Anselm, do you want to introduce yourself, or?
Yes, I can do that. Thank you. My name is Anselm Böhmer, and I'm a professor of general education here in Ludwigsburg University of Education. And we did 2 projects on this kind of international collaboration. So we would like to present a little about that today. Next slide, please. So what you can expect today is first that we present our projects called DIVA and Eugene. These have been coming out in 2019 and 2020. So we are going to present some information on the general outline of this project and also of some of the data. The second point will be core findings, especially on students' conceptualizations and what we can learn about that. And finally, the educational implications. Next slide, please. So, what we first would like to say is what are our projects and what did we do? Would you like to present?
Yes. So the first point is the project DIVA and Eugene. So in the context of the COVID pandemic, the connectivity of the digital environment quickly emerged as pivotal to the sustainability of higher education. So, yeah, that was yeah, a part of the starting point. Anselm, would you like to add something?
Yes, I can do. That means that the projects have been done during a time when the pandemic was very stressing for all the educators and in higher education in especially. So what we find is that the digital learning was as important for higher education as difficult to achieve, especially with the situation in Germany at our university. Next one. So the digital divide in terms of the access to online education has been exacerbated during the pandemic in a huge amount. Next one. That means that mobile devices have been useful for this kind of presentation and learning processes, but also have been an issue to use in a way that we can achieve these goals we wanted to reach with our projects at the beginning. Next one. And that means that we had to develop different answers on these issues, that we had to try and to use new approaches of digital learning and of internationalization in our projects.
So here you can see the website of our first project. Was the DIVA project, Digital and International Virtual Academic Cooperation. It was supported by the German Federal Ministry of Education and Research, the BBAW, and the German Academic Exchange Service, of course, the DAAD. And it was in the International Virtual Academic Cooperation Program, IVAC, with with the project ID. So that was our first collaboration. It was a teaching collaboration between 3 universities in 2020 to 2021. The first was, of course, our university, the University of Education in Ludwigsburg. The second part was the Charles Darwin University, the CDU in Darwin, Australia. And the third was the Cubits College of Education, the CK in Tel Aviv. So 3 parts are important. It was about competencies acquisition in digital learning via students' collaboration and the blended mobility. And in digital and physical was planned. Of course, it was the physical one was quite difficult in terms of the COVID-19 pandemic. And the third main part of the collaboration was building a community of practice. In terms of the collaboration between the educators and, of course, the students. So our second project was the Eugene project. It was from 2021 till 2022. It was about the educational systems, the global competencies, and Education 4.0. It was also supported by the German Federal Ministry of Education and Research, and of course also of the German Academic Exchange Service, the DAAD. So that was so you can see a slide of our website. So we create a homepage too for this project, but this time a little different. We used other platforms on social media like Twitter, and we put it in the website. So we had a kind of social media connectivity in our website. So here you can see the social media slides from our project, the Eugene project. We not also created a Twitter account, but also on Instagram. So we use both platforms to get better connected with the students, and to try to use different platforms in terms of the better connectivity to our students in the course, and of course to the students that were not able to come to us to visit Darwin. So in the right slide you can see a picture of us. We visit the university in Darwin, the Charles Darwin University in the Northern Institute. And here you can see, of course, us with our students, and with Dean Wallace from the CDU University in Darwin. So, Anselm, do you want to add something?
No, it's okay.
Okay. So I would like to give up to Anselm.
Yeah, thank you. The next point are the core findings of our projects. And so what did we do? First, we used the methods of content analysis and of deconstruction, referring to Meiring and Derrida. And we tried to establish a huge level of intercoder reliability in interpreting these data. So we had a sample of, in total, 40 students coming from Australia, some from the US and from Germany. Next slide, please. What did we learn? First of all, we had our own learning. That means that we became more aware of the own privileged situation during the pandemic and the post-pandemic period. Next point was that the future education of students at school means that social differences and social cohesion is to be discussed in depth. The care activities we also focused in our project means that cultural and religious differences can be used as a source of cultural and social capital in learning, in internationalization, and also in collaborating with students and scholars. Then we had some perspectives on colonialism and thus on global and historical processes, as the German and also the Australian university are focusing these aspects as well. Finally, we found some information about the habitus. That means that language, culturalized differences, intersectionality, and identity were worked on and discussed in our projects and also in the outcomes of the students. The students' collaboration in detail means that they had high motivation to learn and to collaborate. To be honest, all of the German students participating in these projects told us that they want to have more international contact and learning possibilities. The subject the students dealt with was harmony and community in their groups, but not to focus on material differences and structural power of cultural and social privilege. So that was an issue we had to bring in at different times into the discussion and the collaboration of the students. They shared their construction of reality. That means that most students reflect on cultural aspects, and then with regard to social issues and language differences, but there were different outcomes for students from different perspectives. Nobody of them mentioned the personal situation of own poor living situation, as we had to learn about when discussing with the students in a more private situation, but it was nothing we could manage the students to discuss in our project. I think this is okay for their private situation, but the learning outcomes also show that they had more competencies in these fields during the courses.
So point 3 is the educational implication. We had the educational implications. We made 30 points. So we would like to present them, to talk about them. And maybe this is also a good part for questioning and on the end of our session. So the first point is that we planned this project and the course in a joint planning. That was a kind of key. So we worked also with our student assistant Hila Schein, she's the third part in our team, and that was very helpful. And the second point is that we starting together, we're strolling in around in the learning environment was also very important. We use a different learning environment in the Eugene project that we didn't use in DIVA. So it was Gather Town. It's kind of gaming environment. So we could create there rooms for the students, but also seminar rooms and some kind of offices, and also kind of room to get together. The third point is the offering technical support to the students is also important. We had our assistant, Illie Schein, and she was always there for technical support and for questions that the students may have. The fourth point is the exploding diversity of digital opportunities. So that was also important to have some kind of diversity to try to use all digital opportunities. And 5, no shying away from new platforms. So as mentioned, we use some social media platforms like Twitter and Instagram, but also some meeting platforms or collaboration platforms like Gather Town or WonderMe. The point 6 is the use of platforms that fit best for your purpose. So we also had to make a decision of the huge variety of platforms that you can use, we had to pick up to be picky. Yes, let's say it like this. What's important for our purpose. Point 7 is teaching. Is researching together with students and scholars. So there was also a point that we try to implement our research together with the students. And the point 8 is the different mentalities, structures, and expectations. Are opportunities and challenges. Of course, there are different mentalities when you cope with international students in, let's say, the Charles Darwin University, that they have a lot of international students from China. So there was also some kind of different mentalities, but also the different structures of the virus, of the variety of universities and the structures in their higher education. Point 9 is, do we need leaders or teams? So that was a question, and it was a question on the collaboration and cohesion, and that was also, to be honest, not always such easy to deal with that. The point 10 is learning, teaching, and research asking questions about the openness of academia. So there was a focus on questioning in our meetings and sessions. We had the professor John Mason from the CDU, who made a workshop on the method asking the right question. So that was also something new for us, and something special. So we had to deal with that. The point 11 is, should we ask more questions and focus less on answers? We would say yes, and I think the students I think the students had the same point, or the same, let's say, the same thoughts of it. The point 12 is the duality in teaching and learning. We got spatial, physical, and so-called digital is seemingly fluid, so it's not always some kind of black and white. It's often a fluid thing. As I mentioned, the platform that we use in GatherTown. So you had this avatars, and you can walk in these rooms, but you also are in a physical room. And the last point is that we need more research-based teaching in this area of international collaboration. And with this point, we end our presentation. Thank you for listening. And Anselm, maybe you want to add something too?
Yes, thank you, Illie, for doing your part of the presentation. I think we can show that this kind of international collaboration means that we have lots of opportunities using digital tools, and that we also can use this kind of international collaboration for a longer time. Thank you for listening also from me, and I think we are now open for your questions.